Hello esports fans, and welcome here to this game of StarCraft that was found on reddit.com/r/castit. This will be a game played out on the map of Red City, and spawning in our upper right hand position will be our red Protoss. It is NinjaDuckBob. His opponent spawning in the lower left hand position as our blue Zerg player, it is Carcajou. Now, this is Red City. This is a newish map in the ladder pool, but it is not a new map overall. This has been used for quite a while in the Korean scene in both the Global StarCraft League, or GSL, and the Kespo Pro League, where this map was developed. And we see this is actually a very Protoss-friendly map, because there are all these very tiny little choke points and ramps on the way into every single base, and even just between bases. But that is counterable because there are these flat areas between all of those. That is where your Zerg player wants to try to engage your Protoss player. And now this is a 4-spawn map, so we see both of our players are getting their scouts out nice and early and checking each of the 4 corners where it is possible for a player to spawn. And NinjaDuckBob will actually get lucky and get a fairly early scout on his opponent. You always usually get your opponents, there are cross spawns, so they will each get their opponent in their second scouted position. But we see Carcajou is actually going to grab that spawning, or that hatchery first here. After doing a little scouting around, wants to make sure that there is nothing there, checking for proxies. Checking for the pylon to make sure he's not getting cannon rushed, but he didn't go all the way back here, so he didn't see it if it was happening. But Carcajou is going to get his overlords into each of the corners of the map, and then he is going to send a probe or drone all the way across the map to try to get the scout in the farthest position that would take his overlord the longest to get to. And we see that Carcajou has now tossed down his spawning pool after that hatchery. We see that NinjaDuckBob actually got double gateways out right at the beginning of the game and is chrono boosting out zealots and rallying them, I believe, all the way across the map. He is going to go for a very aggressive play here. He just wants to go in and see if he can't pick up that early kill and win. And I mean, right now he could. I mean, there are no Zerglings on the field. Looks like a little bit of a miss rally there on those workers as Carcajou picks it up and pulls them back. He's getting now his first gas geyser on the way. Still no, there we goes, the first gas out of NinjaDuckBob. He's not going for any of those quick early tech switches. Protoss units cost so much gas that it's usually important to get a lot of gas early on. But NinjaDuckBob just going for that early zealot pressure. As we see now, his first zealot is almost across the field. That overlord sees it. He knows it's coming. He tosses down that spine crawler, as well as getting 2 Zerglings out and a couple of queens. Those queens, he was getting those anyway. He needs them. But he wants to try to kill off this spine crawler before anything can happen here. Even pulling the drones to try to kill him off. That is not suggested. It would have been better to just cancel the spine crawler and pull the drones back up into your main base. The spine crawler might not even fall here. The Zerglings might be able to kill it off. No, the spine crawler will fall. Not even getting the cancel on that there. That was too bad. But they will intercept this second zealot. The zealot is going to start hacking away on the queen. Another spine crawler in production now. And with these 2 zealots, this queen should fall before that first zealot falls. But now it's being pulled back. The Zerglings come in and kill off that first zealot. The second zealot should die because the Zergling should hold it in place while the queen's picking off from a distance. Even now tossing down a second spine crawler because he has the overlord spotting the middle of the map and knows that there are 2 more zealots running their way across the map. Behind this, we see that NinjaDuckBob is grabbing his Nexus as well as that Warp Gate research, so he can start warping in his gateway units at any of his pylons, getting those zealots up into the main base. But once again, these Zerglings will hold that back as the queen picks it off, and those 2 zealots die, killing off just a couple of Zerglings. These are not the most efficient of trades yet for NinjaDuckBob, but it is forcing a lot of defensive units out of Carcajou in a position where Zerg wants to be expanding and droning up. However, it does leave NinjaDuckBob's income collecting workers a little far behind. We do see him up in that respect, though. 19 probes to 14 drones, and no more drones in production from Cargo Hull. We see additional zealots being warped in there, getting that cannon on the way, as well as the Twilight Council, which will open up the potential for those Twilight Council upgrades such as Zealot Charge or Stalker Blink, and open up the Templar production possibilities in the form of either the High Templar or the Dark Templar. Warp Gate is almost done. Once that is complete, NinjaDuckBob will be able to start getting out quite a large quantity of units reactionarily as he needs to. And he is going to need to in a second, because Cargo Hull is sending a large quantity of Zerglings out across the map. This is 25 Zerglings, but this is such a narrow choke point with these two Zealots here. They can hold that. The Zerglings aren't even going to all be able to get into combat, and the cannon behind that just picking off any Zergling that they can. A couple of the Zerglings are pulled to deal with that cannon. The first Zealot's about to fall. Second Zealot will fall shortly, but a third Zealot has been warped in. That third Zealot took a couple slashes at that gateway. The third Zealot is now holding the choke point. The cannon has been destroyed. A fourth Zealot is being warped in. A couple of these Zerglings are being pulled back to try to focus down this pylon, but they don't decide to go for it. This Zealot he's got to hold that position. Oh, Cargo Hull could have run by that and sniped off a couple of probes if he had wanted to, but he chose not to. He's really trying to focus down this pylon. If he can get that pylon down, he won't be able to warp in any units in that position. Also will unpower this gateway, and NinjaDuckBob decides to react to that by tossing down a pylon behind it to keep it alive, also repositioning that cannon. And Cargo Hull has decided to pull back all of his reinforcements because he knows that attack cannot get anything else done. And we see that Cargo Hull is going to behind this add-on. He's going to start morphing in his lair, start upgrading those +1 melee attacks. NinjaDuckBob not doing a whole lot, just getting that photon cannon on the way, but there's everything starting up. 2 Stargates on the way, as well as the Dark Shrine. Those Stargates are going to mean that he can either go into Phoenix or Colossi production at this point in the game. Phoenix production is a classic one of a, hold on, more Zerglings are charging into the front gate. But once again, there are Zealots in position. He could fit 2 there, but he's only got 1 holding that position. The cannon will fall. No, the cannon's holding strong. The shields are all torn down. The first Zealot does fall. Second Zealot does not have a lot of health, but has a lot of shields. And they have easily held that this time because the Zerglings decided to focus down the pylon first instead of the cannon, and they were pushed back. But like I was saying before that attack, the Stargates can be used to either get those Phoenix, which are so good against those Mutalisks, or those Void Rays. And Void Rays are never a bad option. But also the Dark Shrine is just allows him to warp in the ultimate harassment tool in the form of those Dark Templar. And we do see that once that lair finished up, the Spire research began almost immediately for Cargo Hull. He is going to go into those Mutalisks. He wants to get some harassment done. But NinjaDuckBob has the perfect answer to that with those Stargates. He needs to scout that, know that there's a Spire on the way, and just start getting out those Phoenixes. We also see that Cargo Hull is going to start getting those Roaches. Roaches are a good answer to some of the Protoss units. They can kite those Zealots around almost indefinitely with some good control, but they are still rather weak against the Zealot if the Zealot gets into melee range. They are a good choice against the Stalker if the Protoss player decides to go for that. We see, though, that NinjaDuckBob is getting that Zealot charge upgrade on the way. He is just dedicating to those Zealots, also getting that +1 ground upgrade. These Dark Templar are now going to run in, and he's going to try to snipe off this third base, even running one of them into the front, and he is going to start hacking away at this spine crawler. He wants to clean up all the static defense in the front of this base so that he can bring his army in should he ever have to. Oh, and that's a good little bit of control there from Cargo Hull. He instantly gets that spore crawler positioned in range of all of his the front entranceway so he can defend against any DTs that attempt to run in there. But this third base is almost forfeit at this point. I believe he did get an Overseer. We do see that moving on its way over, but it will not get there before this base does fall. Even supply blocking Cargo Hull. That is an unfortunate position to be in. Almost instantly we see 2 Overlords are tossed down. We also see Gael Reconstitution is on the way. That is the Roach movement speed increase, and he's morphing these 2 Dark Templar into an Archon, saying, you know what, that phase of aggression is over. I don't think I can get any more damage done with my DTs, so I'm going to use Archons. We don't see him going for the Phoenixes. We instead see him going for the Void Rays. That is not the best choice for him right now because there are 7 Mutalisks in production. Those Mutalisks will do good damage against the Void Rays as well as just be able to outrun them. The reason why the Mutalisks can't outrun the Phoenixes is because the Phoenixes, with their range upgrade, do have a longer range and they can move and shoot. That is why Phoenixes are such a great counter to the Mutalisk. But we see a lot of Zealot Zerglings starting to move out into the... all right, stopping at his front ramp. He might be using this as a way to cover his expansion as he tries to once again take this 3rd position. Or he may just be waiting a couple minutes to move out again when those Mutalisks are done. And he's going to start moving out into the map now. These Zerglings are going to charge up there, but they are not going to get a whole lot done here, especially with this high quantity of Zealots and these Archons that we now see on the map. Archons dealing that splash damage to the Zerglings will just tear through this little ball of Zerglings. How many Mutalisks do we have on the field at this point? We have 11 done. 4 more completing in a moment. We will have 14 Mutalisks flying around the map, and we don't see any cannoning in the mineral lines. We've not seen any stalkers be produced. These Mutalisks can get a lot of damage done if they hit at the right time. And they are actually going to follow an excellent path around the outside of the map, not allowing themselves to be spotted in the middle of the map. They will actually swoop in on those mineral lines and deal devastating amounts of damage. But the army of NinjaDuckBob is moving out now. They meet the Zealot or Zergling force in the middle of the map, and they easily clean it up, even sniping off that Overseer. The DTs are once again going to be incredibly effective as there is minimal amounts of detection for Carcajou, but the Mutalisks of Carcajou are flying up that right-hand side, and they still have not been scouted. There are 16 of them at this point. They can just swoop right down into this base and destroy the mineral line if they do it right. Oh, but they're getting distracted by the infrastructure. They can't be killing that off. Mutalisks do not deal the best damage for buildings, and there we go. Just starting to pick off all of that mineral line, killing off all of the probes, but the army of NinjaDuckBob is just thundering down into Carcajoul's base, and they kill off both of the spine crawlers. They're killing off the Mutalisk reinforcements. They kill off the roaches. There is no attacking units here for Carcajoul as that hatchery on the low ground will fall momentarily. All the drones are being cleaned up by the Zealots and Dark Templar. That base has fallen, and there is minimal amounts of defense up in the main base for Carcajoul. And he's even pulling the Mutalisks back. The Mutalisks did good damage. They've unpowered a lot of the warp gates, but they killed off the entire middle line. But there is still this excellently saturated line here, and a lot of Zealots to defend against any Zergling run-bys. The army of NinjaDuckBob is just devastating the main base of Carcajoul, killing off Overlords, killing off this Spire. No more Mutalisks will be able to be produced this game, killing off all of the drones. And Carcajoul just does not have a large bank at this point. He cannot rebuild much from here, especially if he loses all. He's lost all of his drones. Drones are what they use, and he's even going to lose the lair. He is just devastated at this point. The roaches being picked off almost as soon as they spawn. There is no detection. These Dark Templar will just rain destruction on this base, and now the Phoenix is coming down, trying to kite away the Mutalisks, trying to pick all of them off. Carcajoul has almost nothing left in this game. He is even being revealed if he does not get a base rebuilt, and he can't get a base rebuilt. Kiting those Mutalisks into the Archon. The Archon will clean them up momentarily, and there, Carcajoul just leaves the game. He's just done with this. He's got nothing left. He had no way to reproduce. All of his units were dead, and he just rage quits out of the game without even a GG. That was very well played on the part of NinjaDuckBob with that attack timing. That was just an incredibly exciting game, and I hope you will all join me for more exciting games of StarCraft in the future.